All right, and we are live just like we said. Thank you so much, folks, for attending, for grabbing yourself some water, some sweet tea, whatever it is that you drink. Listen, and chatting with us. We want to answer your questions. We know how it is. Have you been trapped in debt? Have you been on the verge of giving up? Maybe you wanted to get a consolidation loan. Maybe someone told you to cut up your credit cards, and you think that's the way to go still in 2025. And then some of you have even found out, well, wait a minute, why am I doing that? Why did I just cut up my leverage? Folks, it's not too late. We're going to show you a way out of that. Remember, this is not just my channel. This is your channel. All right. So the questions that you have, they get answered. And we have a special guest today. All right. We've got a special guest, and I definitely am going to introduce her. Before we do that, I want you to go ahead and type in the chat where you are coming from. Thank you so much. Hey, thanks a lot, Ephraim. You know what, man? I heard somebody say this, and Ephraim said, "Thank you for being you." And one thing that actually helped me to continue to be me is the saying, "I'm the best me that I will ever be." And no one can do what God called me to do. There may have been my ancestors before me. Now, this goes the same for you. Before me, and there may have been answers. There will be ancestors after me, but no one will be me. No one will be me. So, in your quest to get rid of debt, in your quest to get rid of those consuming, I'm talking about cash flow sucking loans. What I want you to do is do it the way that fits you. All right. North Carolina is in the house. Listen, I've asked some people time and time again, North Carolina, I've heard it said North Kakalaki. Do you know why they call it North Kakalaki? I like that North Kakalaki, South Kakalaki, but that must be a Southern thing, man. That's awesome. I actually like that. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. We have today our guest, Kelly. She's all the way from Florida, and when she's not solving problems and being Superwoman, Wonder Woman, she's on a cruise. She said, CJ, I paid off my debt October 2024. Now, I got a house. Congratulations. And she said, I'm scheduled to actually pay off the house in 7 years. Now, I know a lot of you are like, wait a minute, 7 years? That can't be right because there are only 30-year, 15-year mortgages. And Kelly, did you know they now have 40-year mortgages?
Yes, they do.
40-year mortgages. Can you type in the chat just a guess? Why do they have 40-year mortgages? Do you see why you need to go buy another plan versus the bank's plan? How about the fox teaching the chickens what to eat? Why do you think a fox would do that? The same reason, the same way goes for the banks. Why do you think the banks teach us put your money in savings, pay the minimum payment, and even some credit cards were forced to let people know, hey, if you continued paying like this, the minimum payment, you're getting out of this credit card debt in 10 years. And it was $5,000. But they were forced into disclosing that. And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to think about paying your debt in a completely different way. Because when you start doing that, the debt then becomes an asset. The same way they take your debt and they make it an asset, they go in their books and they say, okay, this is an asset for us, right? Now you're going to be taking this same information. all right, that the banks use. And you're going to be turning it for you so that you're achieving cash flow more than the banks. All right. Jesus is in the house. Yes, fire movement, man. That's what I'm talking about. Armando, man, I didn't forget about you. New York is in the house. Man, I sure can, man. I sure can, Ephraim. I sure can. Let's go ahead and make sure we assist you in that. Ephraim needs some business credit. How many of you know how important business credit is? What's going on, Bill? Ask your questions. We are here to answer them. There's no question too hard. Let's go. All right. Now, a lot of you, how many of you know Tony Scotti? Do you know Tony Scotti? You know about Rick as well? Hey man, thank you so much, Don. Absolutely. We're here to answer, man. We're here for you. Let us know what it is you've had a concern about, and we'll go ahead and do that. We're also going to show you how we automate velocity banking. How many of you want to know about automating velocity banking? You know how powerful automation is when you put that on your credit card, right? To pay each and every time. Well, what about automating your cash flow? Have you ever thought about that? Automating your cash flow, making sure that you're paying yourself. Okay. All right. All right, Kelly, they are rolling in. Listen, I just want you to be yourself. I got a question for you, actually. I got a question for you, and that is when you paid off all that debt in October 2024, was it harder than you thought it would be? And like what was kind of going through your mind when all that, and I'm thinking it's consumer debt, when all that consumer debt was done with in October 2024, like you were saying.
How did I feel? Oh,
Yeah, how do you feel?
I started looking for a new house.
Now, when you looked for your new house, right? When you looked for your new house, did you think, okay, um, oh man, this is another debt? Or did you immediately have something that was like, oh, don't worry about that. You're not going to pay it off in 30 years. You're not even going to pay it off in 15 years. You're going to pay it off in less than that. Did you already know like the plan on how to get out of that debt? Because I've heard it said, and you've heard it said probably as well, you don't have to worry about a mortgage, you know, paying that off. And it's true, right? I mean, it scores high on the cash flow index, but you're already planning, okay, I'm going to get out of this. And what was the year that you plan on getting out of the mortgage?
It it's at 6.7 years right now. I'll have it paid off, and it's at a 6.5% interest rate.
So, like, and this isn't like a $30,000 mortgage, right? Like this is
Oh no,
a
no,
pretty high
no,
mortgage. You know what I
no, it's
mean?
a high mortgage.
So it's a high mortgage, and people usually take the 30 years and take the 40 years. You're talking about 6.7, so it's actually less than I thought. So you're talking about 6.7 years getting out of it. How in the world, like, how in the world is that even possible, especially in 2025?
Well, it's math. So
Okay.
using the money max, once the money max knows what's going in and what's going out, it creates the plan. So when my husband's paid weekly and I'm paid biweekly, when that's happening and money is coming in at different times, and then he gets quarterly bonuses. We also have a little rental property. So when the system knows all the different frequencies of income coming in and it knows what's going out, it guides me and tells me exactly what. Now, I use the checking and savings method. I just bought a home. I don't have a HELOC. I don't have a line of credit. So for right now, we're using the checking and savings method within the money max.
Mm,
Um, but we also use the velocity in the money max when it comes to our credit cards. So, what I love about the Money Max is once it knows what I'm doing, it just creates the path and tells me what to do. I don't have to think about it like at all. I, I, I log in, I do what it tells me to do, and I log out. I tell it how much money I want to keep in my accounts. I set my goals and it just works around my goals. I hope that answered that.
No, no, it answered good. I remember just playing around with it as well and plugging in $50,000 car loan. The thing I like about it is it already shares with you what you can do and if you can actually afford
If you can
the
afford it.
50,000, 60,000, $70,000 car loan or even another house. Because it's one thing to think, right? To think that you can afford it because, you're doing the hand to paper, the pencil to paper type method, which is nothing wrong with that. And it's another thing using software that is specially designed to make sure that it catches the mistakes that you would have made,
Mhm.
ask you questions, lets you know, hey, your cash flow is going to run out this month, this date. So you
It'll
may
tell you
want to
that.
think about, yeah, you may want to think about, getting, another job or anything like that. So it's like, wow, putting the number in, whatever number it is, right? And guys, put your number in. Put your number in right now. You are thinking about maybe going back to school, right? Getting a student loan. Perhaps you're a new college student. Perhaps you're someone that, you need a vehicle, right? New or used. Type that number in right now. Type the number in right now. And when you do that, realize you could be typing that number in and actually getting a whole plan, right, before you as to when you can pay that off. And we're talking about taking 6, 7, 8 year loans, car loans, paying them off in 15 months. And it's all through the money that you make already. You don't have to get another job, right? You don't have to, you know what I mean? Make drastic changes to your expenses. I've always heard that. You've got to be on the noodles and cardboard diet if you want to get anywhere in life. However, with reality, right, with a Money Max account, I've seen how that you can actually live, rich right now. You don't have to wait until you retire to do that. You can go on cruises. I mean, I don't know if you mentioned you go on cruises, but is that just like one time, you know what I mean? Like a one time once in a blue moon, you get vacations or what do you do with the money now that you have the Money Max account?
With that money, if we want to book a little, we do a lot of little weekend cruises. I live in Florida, so it's affordable. We also get cruise offers. So I just tell the Money Max, hey, I'm going on a cruise on this day, and I tell it how much money I need and how much I want to take with me. Um, that's a I want to talk about that for a second
Okay.
because people, when they're researching velocity banking, their focus is to save interest. And saving interest, that's why we're here. That's our main goal. But for people like me, I'm just 100%, I'm 47 years old. I don't want to wait till I retire to vacation. I don't want to work a second job. I want to enjoy my life. So is interest savings important? Well, yes, of course it is. But the Money Max allows me to still live within my means. I can't go on there and put, I'm going to go to Italy for 2 weeks, but I can put a budget in there and it's just going to calculate. And you know what? If it pushes my payoff date too far out, then it's like, you're kind of pushing the limits a little bit, Kelly, So,
Right.
um, but I love the flexibility that the Money Max allows my family. Um, if you're looking to make a purchase, what if you're looking to trade in your car to get a different car? What if you're looking to put a pool in, put a roof on? How cool is it that you can go to a software Pretend you have the loan, plug it in, add the loan, see what it does to your payoff, see how much interest you'll actually end up paying, especially with the money max, because sometimes it's so low. When we were looking for a house and when we found a house and we were moving forward, as soon as the lender sent me the closing statement where I knew what the payment was, the escrow and everything, I couldn't get to my money max fast enough to plug it in because I couldn't wait. I had already kind of played with the number. We know we wanted to have something that we could pay off in less than 10 years. So it we don't have a huge extra cash flow, but it works with what we already make, and then you know what? If you get extra money, then great. It tells you what to do with it. So it's just awesome to have just a guide. I tell my clients, I'm like, remember that road atlas that your parents and your grandparents had in the glove box? I had one,
Mm,
the big
right.
road atlas. You shoved it in the glove box or you rolled it up and put it in the back seat.
Yep,
And grandma would be driving because I remember this. I called my grandmother mama. So mama would be driving and I'd be looking at that road atlas, following the road, looking at the signs, right? It's
that's
like
right.
if I told anybody on this channel tonight, the GPS on your phone, you no longer have it. You have to go back to using a road atlas. You would probably go in panic mode. Well, that's what I would do if I lost my money max because I would just go in panic mode. I I just follow what it tells me to do. Just like my GPS, if it tells me to turn right, I turn right. And that's what I love so much about it. And what happens on your GPS if you miss the exit? It reroutes you.
Right.
We have so many clients that their pay fluctuates. They're seasonal clients, or I have a newer client right now that he can't work if it's raining. So if it's been raining all week this week,
Mm,
so he's got himself, he feels like he's in this bind, but using the money max and you're able to tell it, I want to keep this much money in my savings, this much in my checking, and it knows your budget. Um, and then on the whole flip side of that is I'll have people say, okay, well, Kelly, where can I cut corners? My payoff's 8 years, but I want to be paid off in 6 years because I want to retire. Well, if you want to retire, well, what if we lower the grocery budget a little bit? What if we lower the dining out? What if we lower, you know, so those are the things that I think a lot of people don't realize that the Money Max does is the flexibility. It's not a program that's putting you on. We're not putting you on a budget. We're not. You set your own. Yours is going to look different than mine. So anyway, I'm rambling. I could
no,
talk
that's
about the Money Max all day, though.
yeah, no, that's true. That's true. It's just and when you're talking about budgeting, I'm glad you actually brought that up. And I'm just going to go ahead and address Ephraim right now. You said, could you assist me? You're in need of a secured business credit card. There's no one that I trust more, Ephraim, than the fellow. Big shout out to Felix Um, he just believes in helping people, man, no matter where they're at in their business where they're at in their business. He'll walk you through it. He'll educate you. I know a lot of you probably already know about Felix He with OPM Mastery, but the dude is a whiz and he will absolutely share with you and hook you up when it comes to business credit. You need those lines of credit. That's the guy. That's the guy. All right. You need to know how to pay them off. I'm the guy. All right. Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to know how to pay them off accurately, Money Max account, right? And it's for business, right? It's for personal. It doesn't matter how many cards you have, right? Now I suggest just 3 to 5, right? 3 to 5. And I actually got that from Garrett Gunderson. All right, he said 3 to 5 personal credit cards. Now, when it comes to business credit, hey, sky's the limit. There is no limit there. Business credit is totally different than personal credit. But just to let you know, I pinned that there for you, Ephraim. I'm going to go ahead and get to these questions. And wait, what's going on, Bill? Automation is so powerful, it took my job. Man, sometimes that can be a blessing in disguise, can't it? When somebody comes to you and says, "Listen, man, we actually automated your position. So now you can be freed up to perhaps do velocity banking, teach somebody else velocity banking." I've seen those comments, "Hey, Zeus, hey, man, let me know. Give me an update." All right. We got Don. I have a personal line of credit that's maxed out. I want to use the velocity method to pay off 20K debt. You definitely can. Go ahead and subscribe to our newsletter. People are actually getting debt elimination roadmaps for free. They've already paid by subscribing to that free newsletter. Okay, Don? Yeah. Yeah, we'll go ahead and connect you there. How can one pay off a 20-year home loan in 5 to 7 years? Wow. So before I get to what I was going to get to, I think that's a very good question, Kelly. I know you've been, just making sure people are taken care of financially for some time now. Do you want to tackle that question? How can one pay off a 20-year home loan in 5 to 7 years? Because I admit it does sound fantastical. It sounds unbelievable.
It does. It sounds like there's just no possible way I could do that, you know.
No,
Um, when we look at our monthly bills, you've got you look at your income and you look at what's going out. Well, if you're paid weekly or you're paid biweekly, the system is able to project when you're going to get paid. And it's also able to project, each paycheck. Like one week, I might have an extra $65. Well, the next week, I might have an extra 250. So instead of me leaving that in my account or playing the guessing game on where should I send this money to, um, instead of me doing that, the Money Max, it's already calculated the entire amortization of all of my debts. So it knows exactly which one I should send, even if it's an extra $20 to. And that's the part that our brains can't do that kind of, what is the word I'm looking for? We can't configure that far ahead in advance.
right.
I'm going to go back to the GPS. When you put a location on your GPS, that GPS is looking at the speed limits, the type of highways, it's looking for traffic, it's looking for construction, looking at every possible route to get you to that destination. And then when it pops up, which takes a matter of 0.03 seconds, and then you hit drive and you go and you really don't think much more about it. Well, the Money Max is just like that. So it's looking at all those amortizations. So if you were to fast forward, let's just say you paid your first credit card off in 3 months. Well, now you've just relieved that money that you were spending on that card. So the Money Max is calculating, well, now we'll take this money. And so it knows when to allocate the funds. And that's why it was created. Um, so as far as how can you pay it off that soon? Because it's going to tackle certain things at different times to get you to that end result, which is being out of debt.
Mm. You know what I'm reminded of is the average daily interest that a credit card, some credit cards charge, average daily interest. But if you were to pay a few days before the statement date balance, would they charge you that interest? No, no, because you paid
Because
before
you paid it.
th- that date. And what does that even mean? That means we need to take advantage of time and balance. Because to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm definitely teachable, coachable, all right? The banks are taking advantage not only of interest, but they are taking advantage of time.
Hmm.
They're also taking advantage of balance.
Absolutely.
So I think we should kind of switch that, right? So let's take advantage of what the banks are taking advantage of, but for our good, right?
Hmm.
Because the bigger the principal is, have you noticed that? The bigger the interest, right? So you've
Oh,
got 10%, right? 10% of $90,000. So what's going to be more interest? 10% of $90,000 or 10% of $100,000? So where should we be focusing? Should we be focusing on the interest rate right? Now we don't want to ignore it. We know it's important, right?
Right.
But we definitely want to focus on the principle and we want to move our money in a way that's strategic and calculated. So somebody type this in. If you could, please type this in, folks. FAST. If you don't remember anything tonight, I want you to remember this acronym. F
I'm writing this down.
as in financial, A as in allocation, S as in strategic, and T as in tactics. When it comes to money, we must be soldiers, right? The money are soldiers. Okay, the money are soldiers. And the money that comes in must be allocated, right? Finances that come in must be allocated strategically and tactically. So the reason why many of us are in debt is not because we don't make enough. Desiree, I'm getting to your question right now. That's not it. No way. It's not because you don't make enough. Because the simple truth is, as we've showed you on a prior video, it doesn't matter if you have zero cash flow. Now, we showed this by the numbers. And that's why we can say this. It does matter when you're making the payment because zero cash flow can turn into $800 cash flow if you know how to pay it correctly. What date are you paying it? Are you paying the balance due on the statement date or on the payment date? That's one of the ways the credit card companies takes advantage of people.
Hmm.
Okay. Statement date. Oh, okay, that's when I get my statement. That's what you and I thought, right? But when you mention payment date, oh, that's the payment date. I've got to pay on this date. That's exactly what they want you to think so that they can continue that average daily interest. But if you pay a few days before, and I know sometimes it's difficult, if you pay a few days before that statement due date, you can grab that cash flow that minimum monthly payment took from you before. All right. So Desiree asks if you have a negative $500 cash flow, can this work for you? Yes. And this is how. Okay. And this is how. I actually was in this position. All right, Desiree. So I know from experience. If you have a line of credit, right? If you have maybe $1,000, $2,000 in the bank. Again, it's about strategies and tactics. What the Money Max does is it says, okay, takes everything into account and says, all right, can I do this? It sees what you cannot see.
Amen.
Are there situations where it absolutely positively won't work for you? Yes. Yes, where it won't work at all, right? If you don't have a job, right? If there's nothing coming in at all, come on, I'm being transparent with you. Yes. However, don't think that just because you're negative 500, negative 1,000, negative 2,000 in cash flow, that it won't work. Remember, we cannot get out of the same hole that our mentality put us in. We've got to change this. You got to have a plan. Right now, do you have a plan? If the answer is no, right? If the answer is no, don't hesitate. Start with the newsletter. Start with coming on to the channel, right? Start with watching the videos. Start. And then you'll realize, okay, all right, let's do this because I see the numbers. I'm looking at these over 900 videos. And these numbers don't lie. Many times people do, but these numbers do not. And he just went from negative 500 cash flow to $800. I can do that. Right. So yeah, definitely. Um, I want to encourage you when we are thinking linearly, meaning, well, it's negative and I can't do it. We're not thinking about all the other factors. Do you have a line of credit, right? Do you have a HELOC? Do you have some money in the bank, maybe $2,000? That's something that you can place within your strategy. And you're wondering, well, CJ, how do I start? You start right now. Get in contact with this. Get in contact with this. Just go ahead. If you need, matter of fact, let's do this. If you need a debt elimination roadmap, if you want to know more, just type more. We'll make sure you get connected with and that someone answers your question. Okay. And it may be me, but we'll make sure it gets answered. Okay.
And
Absolutely.
I want to just add to what CJ is saying. What we do is agents at the Money Max, and there's a whole team of us, and every single one is just, they're all great and they all care. Run an analysis, reach
Hmm.
out to one of us. That costs you nothing. If
Hmm.
nothing, I tell everybody, just get an analysis run. Even if you don't become a client, you
Right.
still want to see your numbers. You want to know it's not fun. It's not fun to look at that paper and go, oh my gosh, I owe. Do you know how many people that are scheduled to pay back more interest than
Hmm.
what they actually owe? It would blow your mind. And I see it every single day. So the best you could do right now, run your numbers. And what I mean by that is you reach out to us, schedule an appointment. All I'm going to do is plug in your mortgage, your interest rate, your payment, your income. How often are you paid? Some people, they'll reach out and say, well, I'm in the negative. But when I run the numbers, I'm like, you have a positive cash flow, but they don't realize it because they're paid differently. Certain
Hmm.
bills are different. So get an analysis ran. Let us do that for you because that costs you absolutely nothing. You get a copy of the report. We show you the money max, but get an analysis run just to see, if nothing else, just to see where you're at with your finances.
Right. Absolutely. Matter of fact, that's brilliant, Kelly. I went ahead and pinned that. If you guys need your numbers run, let's go ahead and just do it. Just do
Do it.
it. Yeah. And while that's up there, questions asked. Let's go ahead and get those questions asked. What's going on? Money Max University's in the house. All right. MK_P. Glad to have you with us. Absolutely. So Stephen Daly, oh man, this is a good question, Stephen. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and engage our brains here. How can one utilize velocity banking if the loan you have doesn't accept plastique as your form of payment? And so, for those of you that don't know, plastique is a third party. It's actually a pretty good um, company to use if you want to pay your mortgages with a Discover card or a mortgage or a MasterCard. Those are the two cards they accept, right? But usually those are not paid with the credit card, right? I mean, who pays a mortgage with a credit card, right? But Plastique, that third party that takes your card, right, turns it into cash for the lenders. But Stephen, is actually saying, how can you utilize this if, the loan you have doesn't accept plastique? So, Stephen, I'm so glad that you asked that because I want to ask you something. So I'm kind of answering a question with a question, and that is, do you want to see? Do you want to see? Are you willing? Are you willing to share your situation, because I know the situation goes much deeper. All right. Because I've been there, man. Okay. I know it goes much deeper. So let's do this. Let's run all those numbers that you have, right? Because to tell you the truth, we don't need plastique. We don't need plastique. They are just a help, right? What we need to get down are the principles, right? And we need a strategy and a tactic to get rid of those cash flow sucking loans as fast and as accurately as possible. Why? Because I want you to have the cash flow instead of them. And we appreciate plastique so much, but we do not need plastique. We're going to share with you how to get that done. And Jesus is going to be helping you with that. Look at that. He already has some alternate also options there for you. It's solid. And folks, if you are reading, go ahead and read what Jesus is writing down. He said you can ask for convenience checks or ask the financial institution if you can use your credit card for overdraft protection. Do you see the velocity bankers that we have on our channel? What happens when you allow people to think and to converse with one another, when you have a community, when you're reaching out? Because the fact of the matter is, it seems like with all of the things that are going on, we're going to need each other more now than ever before. Have you noticed that? Maybe some of you have even felt that. And that comment right there by Jesus, thank you so much, Jesus, shows what happens when you have a community versus just one. All right. So Desiree, we answer your question. If you have any more questions, just let us know. Listen, I know it's late over there on the East Coast. Kelly, I know it is. And you probably want to get to bed, right? And
I'm
look at this.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're okay. Okay, okay. Look, look. And look, Anderson Ford, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. How much is the money max? Oh, man, I tell you, that is a great question. And with my situation, Kelly's situation, your situation, it's going to be different. Why? Because we need to see where you're at. And that's why the analysis is so, so important. It's so important. Because when you have your analysis there, we see, okay, how much of this do you need? How much of it do you need? Good job, Jesus. Absolutely, Stephen. How much of it do you need? That's where we're asking. Okay. So it's not some set price, you know, $20,000, $15,000, and it gets this bells and whistles. Well, what if you don't need that? Right? So we would have to get your velocity analysis. You'd have to talk to, watch this. And I don't know if I'm gonna, offend anybody, but you're gonna talk to a real person. Mm, mm, mm. You're gonna get
Yeah,
real help from a real human being. Kelly, are you still there? Are you
I'm here.
okay? Phew, phew, phew. All right, all
I'm
right.
here.
Yes, yes,
Yes, we
absolutely.
are real people, real jobs. This is what we do for a living.
Yeah.
And I tell you, my background is in banking. I was a loan officer, I was a manager, I did collections. I was at the bank for 15 years. And then I switched to financial advisory. But this I'll be here till I retire. It's the one thing that I've done in my life that's so relatable because
Mm,
man, my clients, I'm right there with you. Let's hold hands and we're just going to get through it. We are really good about following up with our clients and making sure they understand this because the Money Max is a software. It is a software that we train you on. We teach you how to use it. We help you set it up. I meet with my clients as much as they'll allow me to until they say, Kelly, I'm done with you. Okay,
mhm,
I got this. You need to leave me alone. Let me swim, but I want them to be successful. And I also tell the clients, it kind of like joining the gym. I can join the gym and I can pay that membership fee. But if I don't go down there and put the work in that my trainer tells me to,
Mhm.
I can't complain about not getting the results, you
There you
know.
go.
And
That's right.
that's really a true story because I did join a gym. And
Nice.
I'm not going to say how long time passed, but I told Michael, I said, going down to that gym tomorrow, and I'm going to tell them I haven't even seen a difference. And he goes, would you go like 2 times? And we started laughing. And then he stops and he says, that's kind of like the money max. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, think about it. And
Hmm.
he gave me that analogy. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so right. You have to use it, you have to follow it. One of the biggest, I don't want to say complaints, but the biggest, not complaint, the biggest struggles that I see that clients have is once they start using it, they still want to, they still want to put everything in the way they've always been doing it. And it's
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
no,
Right.
you have to be able to, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the
Oh,
same thing, repeated behavior over and over, expecting a different result.
right.
It's just like that. You have to allow, follow what the money max says. If it's telling you to move money from this account, put it in the savings, do it. If it's telling you to take that money and put it towards a debt, do it. Otherwise, it's a waste of money. You're
Right.
just shooting yourself in the foot. You have to follow it. Um, so anyway, I just wanted to make sure that I jumped in there and said that.
No,
You have to use
that's
it.
yeah, that's definitely a good point because the fact of the matter is the software, I mean, this is a foundational element, guys. MoneyMax account, the founders were lenders. The founders were lenders. So that means they had a different mindset than the consumer. You may want to write this down. Three mindsets when it comes to money. All right, three mindsets. And even in ancient writings that address this consumer mindset, producer mindset, lender mindset. Consumer mindset, producer mindset, lender mindset. One ancient writing even says the borrower is slave to the lender. And it even says you are to be lenders and not borrowers, right? Talking about the mindset, folks. Which mindset do you want to have? Right? The linear mindset that just goes to work each and every day, doesn't think about how to have more freedom. And that's good if you love your job. No one is judging you at all. This is not being critical. We're just talking about the three different mindsets here, right? Or do you want to free up as much time as possible? Take cruises every weekend. Wow. I thought it was every quarter. But anyway, every weekend. That's great. You know?
I go like every 3 to 4 months.
Cool. See what I mean? Or do you want to have that freedom, right? You may think right now that's impossible, right? But have you really looked at your numbers and seen if it was possible or not? We'd love to help you there. All right, so let me go ahead and see if there's any more. Yes, yes, absolutely. Big
CJ, is it
facts. Look
okay?
at them. Oh,
Can
go
I
ahead.
put we're doing another webinar. Money Max is doing a webinar Tuesday night, and Rick, the Money Max guy, just messaged me the link. Can I put that in the chat?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Put that in the chat. And why is that? Why is that so important? Because we want you guys to know. We want you to know. I think it's been long enough. It's been long enough. You guys need to now you really need to know how to start paying off your loans. The traditional banking method, which remember, I turned it into the initials TB for a reason, right? Because just like tuberculosis, it is a disease. Traditional banking, we have to get out of that mindset, okay? Because is it helping you? I'll just have it in the form of a question. Is it helping you? If it's not, let's at least try another way, a better way, a way you can actually see, wait a minute, that actually works because these are numbers and more than a story. Yeah, so we can definitely place that up there.
Well, I'm trying, but when I do, it says that it's too many characters. I told you,
Oh,
I'm not a,
really?
yo, I am not a technology person.
No, you know what? That's okay. Look, because I have the
Do you
link
have
as
it?
well.
Yeah,
I
because
sure
I
do.
copied it, and when I go to paste it, it says it's too many characters. It won't let me put it.
There we go. I sure will. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that that's right there. Right. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and pin that. That way you guys can go to the webinar. Guys, it's that important. It's that important. And it's this Tuesday, right?
Yes, it's
All
Tuesday.
right.
It's at 8 Eastern.
Okay.
So that would be 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. No, did I say all that wrong?
Look, eight Eastern, that's 3 hours behind if you're on California time, like Jesus and I are, right? So that's what, 5.
Yes, Jesus. Totally agree. Yeah, we want to pay on the house for a year and then we want to do the HELOC method. So one thing at a time. Thank you. You've got it on there. Perfect.
Man, nice. Okay.
Yeah, you guys, if you click that link, you can just register for the Tuesday webinar, then you'll get a reminder. Just join in, ask questions. It's kind of like everybody, you don't have to have your camera on, but you're more than welcome to. Um, but it does give you a chance to talk to actual agents and they'll do an example of the Money Max. So definitely join us on Tuesday.
Yeah, and just to just to give you a picture of what we're looking at, guys, there was a client that shared with me she owed $5,000. The minimum payment was something like, I believe it was $70. $70. Do you know how much of that $70 went to interest? $65 went to interest, guys.
CJ, I
60.
it's actually worse than that because they are now allowed to. Oh, this angers me because when I'm doing analysis, when I tell the system the balance and the interest rate, it calculates what that monthly interest is. Do you realize how many companies look at your statements, everyone? Look at your statements because there are so many companies that are taking advantage of this new law that I don't know what it's called, but they're allowed to charge less. The minimum payment is less than what they're actually charging you in interest. Like the system is designed to keep us in debt. I've been in debt my whole life, but I've always paid my bills, but I've never felt financially secure. Um, with this, I know exactly where I'm at all times. And I put in a Christmas shopping budget. I have a birthday budget for the month of May because both of my kids were born in May. I have a school shopping budget, Christmas shopping, school shopping, and of course I have a vacation budget. Because if you ask anybody that's on they're about to take their last breath, they're going to say they wish they'd have made more memories. And
Mhm.
so that's just one thing that's important to me. So if you're out there and you feel like you're struggling, you feel like that hamster running in the wheel, if you want to get out of that wheel and actually have a guide, to get you out of debt. I promise you. I swear by it. I if y'all took my money max away tomorrow, I wouldn't know how to pay my bills. I'd be like, what do I do?
You know, you
Yeah.
something said something that kind of just really resonated with me. And I remember my mom taking us out on some sort of hike it was. And we went and we bought, I believe it was ice cream, and she was buying me, all this stuff, it was like we went on rides and everything, so it was kind of like a carnival type of thing. And then she looked at me, Kelly, and do you know what she said, folks? You gotta listen to this. She said, "CJ, do you know what I'm buying?" I said, "What, Mom? What are you buying?" "I'm buying memories.
Mhm.
There's more to life than money. There's more to life than money, guys."
I got goosebumps,
Yeah,
CJ.
yeah. It,
But
it, it really is.
it's true. And I'm married into a family that my husband, he believes in every 3 months we do something, whether it's just a night away. But it's not so much, it doesn't have to be lavish. It just has to be, you gotta get away. You gotta have a mental reset.
Right,
You're so burnt out. And when I show people on the Money Max, hey, tell it you want a vacation budget. I don't see what you can afford. If you can put $25 a week in that vacation budget, do it. If you can put 100, do because you need it. You need it for your mental health. There are, other advisors and people that talk about getting out of debt and say, oh, you want a vacation? Wait till you retire. Get a second job. Well, no,
right,
no,
right.
I don't
No,
want to. I don't
right.
want to. I got this one life,
Yes,
you know? And
yes.
but anyway, my husband, his parents and his grandparents, same way, every three
Wow.
months, every 3 months.
What a great tradition, right?
Yes.
Oh man, that is a wonderful tradition,
Yeah.
man. Man, you know what? I'm gonna have to start and go ahead and do that every quarter. Yeah, that makes sense.
Every quarter, you just
I might as
even
well.
get out, leave your house for 2 days, do
Yeah.
something, get away from it because it's just good for you. That's all.
Yeah. No, that is a great practice, actually. Don't in some cultures they have like the calendar events and everything where they have to get away. So no, that's perfect, Kelly. But that's what we want to do, folks.
Hmm.
We want to think about more than just money, right? And since it's so close, since you are so close, Desiree, you're so close, right? Stephen, you're so close. MK_P, you're so close. Folks, you're so close to making sure that you don't have to worry about money anymore. Why? Because you are now getting in contact with someone who has the strategies and the tactics to make that come true. Now, I do want to plug a little something in here, and that is we're going to be talking more about passive income and how we can include you in that. We're not going to be talking about it right now, right? I know you guys have to get to bed and everything like that. You got, work and everything tomorrow, but the passive income is definitely something I want to share with you more about on the channel. And what happens when you have that passive income, you place it into the Money Max account, and you may know what to do with the passive income, right? But the Money Max account is going to be sharing with you the most efficient and effective use of that so that not only will you have money the next month, you'll have money the next year because it actually has a future focus. It gives you a
Hmm.
forecast. This is what your future looks like if you have all these things in place. You put in your income, you put in your debt, you put in your expenses, and it shows you, okay, you can get out of your house in 5 years or 7 years, right? 5 years, whatever it is. It is possible because it takes advantage of time and balance. And it shows you move your money on this date. This is how much to move. Move it here. Move it to this credit card. Move it to this line of credit. Move it to this checking account. Move it to this savings account. Okay, now that we have enough there, let's go ahead and hammer that principal. Sound familiar? Absolutely. So go ahead and fill that out. We've had it pinned there for a while, folks. If you are just coming in, I do want to let you know, I'll go ahead and keep it up for some time. I'm going to go ahead and keep that up there for you, and we'll make sure that that analysis and the webinar is in the description below. Kelly, I want you to have the last words, man. It has been so refreshing to have you on. I do
Well,
want to
thank you.
thank you. I want to thank you for not scripting anything. Folks, this wasn't scripted. I was like, you know what? If Kelly's going unscripted, I'm going unscripted too. I ended up crying, right? On a live. I didn't know you were going to go there with the whole memories thing and popped up in my mind what my mom told me. Kelly, if you want to have the last words, please go ahead.
CJ, I would love to have the last words, but I think Jesus in the comments nailed it. He said, we only get one life, so let's not make it about only paying bills. At the end of your life, you won't remember the bills you paid this month, but you will remember the memories you made this month. I got, I got nothing. I got,
Wow.
I got nothing. It's like, he's so right.
I got
I,
goosebumps.
I
Jesus.
wasn't, well, we weren't born
Right.
to live and work and die. We were born to, um, live our lives, live a good life, raise good humans, and be good people. Um, and that's just it. I mean, I get an analysis done. I mean, I tell my clients, if you could invest $1, if you could invest an amount of, how much would you invest today if you had it? How much would you invest today if in 7 years you could get back $250,000? If you could
Mm.
get back 300,000? What's that number? What is it 2,000? Is it 10,000? Is it, you know, um, what is that number? What would you invest? Now, are you going to get that money back? No, but you no longer are responsible for it. My dream has been I want to buy a house in Aruba. I want to buy a house in the Caribbean. It's just always been a dream of mine. So I want to pay this one off and then I'm going to buy me another one because that's what I want. I want a vacation home in the islands. Aruba's my first choice.
Nice. Man, isn't that part of a Beach Boy song? Aruba, Bahamas.
Jamaica. I
Listen, you're
got
making it happen.
I
You're
got
making it
six I
happen.
got 16 more days. I'll be sailing away again.
Nice. Wow. Kelly, I am so happy for you. Listen, we are going to have to do this again. We
Yeah.
cannot, we cannot let this be the only time. I have had a, Hey, Jesus, yeah, it was a great live stream. Thank you all very much. And please get that analysis done. Of course, it is free. We're going to look at where you're at. And guys, and the folks at Money Max account know that. Let's just say, hey, you know what? I don't have the numbers. I don't have all of the numbers. Then bring some of the numbers, guys. Bring some of
Do
the numbers.
do an
All right.
estimate.
Yeah, let's do an
Do
estimate.
an estimate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you
Absolutely.
can't find the interest rate, I'm going to plug in 30%. If you find out it's 31%, 25%, everything in the Money Max is adjustable. It's
Yeah.
adjustable immediately.
Right.
So any change you make to it, even if you get a $20 a week raise, it's going to make a difference. So it does look at every single dollar. So I cannot wait to meet some of you guys. I can't wait for you guys to meet all of our agents. See you on Tuesday. Um, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. Come
Absolutely.
hang out with us. And CJ, we'll do this again next month.
Awesome. Hey, sounds good to me.
Hopefully I'll have a tan by then.
Awesome, Kelly. You take care. God
You
bless you
too.
guys. get that analysis done. Have a great night. Thank you so much, Kelly, for taking time out.
Thank you
Guys,
for
thank you
having
so
me.
much. Jesus, MKP, Stephen, Armando, Michael, Marcus, Desiree. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and making sure that your debt is eliminated, right? The quickest, most accurate, effective way. God bless you and have a great night.